right, here we go. Welcome to another show, 757 Field Goals. I'm your host, Antoine Corbin, with my co-host
Jamal Hawkins. We're back for another week.
Hey man, this week, this was the week, man.
Yeah.
I think we saw some things.
Might have been a week of separation. This might have been the start of some separation going on.
Yeah, I think we had some games that had some interesting outcomes.
Absolutely.
And we had a couple commits out there, some names out there committed. I think Gabe Fuster from Deep Creek, Liberty, right?
Yeah, Liberty actually got two.
Right,
Karan Prunty
from Norcom, right?
Norcom, yep.
Okay. And then Keandre Lambert, of course, committed to Penn State. Right. So shout out to those guys for making some college decisions.
Are you surprised to see Liberty come into this area and get so many recruits?
I am not. I think coaching and relationships, right? They got a bigger name coach came in there, and I think that staff made a commitment to this area as they saw those, Power 5 conference schools come to our area and grab a kid here, grab a kid there. So I'm not surprised. I think they just made a commitment above some of the other teams that normally recruit our area.
And it's like they're more of a threat. They're more of a threat now than like a school like a Virginia Tech, UVA, who I believe Liberty signed more kids in this area than both of them combined. I don't remember the last kid. Well, C.J. Beasley, but other than that, I don't remember the last kid that even shown heavy interest in Virginia Tech. So I think at this point, man, we gotta what is Tech doing? What is Tech? What is UVA? What are these schools doing compared to a Liberty? James Madison has came in and even gotten some kids.
Right.
You see a guy like Wayne Davis doing great at James Madison now. So yeah.
So I really think that when we talk about kind of the recruiting that it's again about relationships. You also you can't take away anything from the academic level. Can those kids get into some of those Power 5 schools also?
Right.
So we do have to recognize that. Even though it may be D1 football, or FBS versus FCS, sometimes that the student part of the student athlete has to get into that school, not just qualify NCAA, but you got to be accepted into that school.
I actually talked to a parent. They said they had no idea a kid had to their son had to be accepted into the school. Yeah. Once they got a scholarship, so they had no idea. They thought the scholarship was the end
automatic.
All. They said they thought that was the end all be all, and I had explained it to them like, no, your son still has to get accepted into school, and that was such an eye opening experience to them.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that we talk to kids about. We try to get to them at at least. On my end, try to get to them at a younger age and make sure that they understand they got to take the right classes, number one, and then you got to figure out how do I qualify to get into that school that I'm looking at, whether it's football or academics. You still got to qualify to get into that school, whether it's standardized test scores or your GPA and all of that, combination of factors, so I think this is a good week. One of those things. I like to touch on, Jamal, is one of your schools that you said let you down in the Pick'em a couple weeks ago came out with a surprising win. That was Bayside.
Oh yeah. That was a great win. I think they would a missed field goal at the end.
Block field goal.
Field goal at the end. Upset Princess Anne, who was the team that was on the cusp of our top 5 last year. So great win. They did let me down. They let me down a couple of weeks ago, but they bounced back. That was a great win, and I believe they have another good game this week. Another winnable game this week coming up. So
they got Tall. Bayside got Tall.
That's what I think. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I think PA is off this week. I think we're running into that beat, the bye because it's 11 schools over there. So I think PA is off.
PA is off. Got you. That was a good win for Bayside. Like I said, they have Tallwood this week. That's going to be a good matchup. Both of them have the same record, I believe. So Tallwood's coming off a homecoming win against Kentsville. That's another team you're going to watch out for this week. They have a winnable matchup. I think that's one of the matchups I looked at what you sent over to me. I'm like, well, that's a winnable matchup they have coming up. So.
And that's a good one too, because I think Coach Larry Archie got on the this week. So
got his first win over at Granby.
So that's a good thing too.
Did the outcome shock you at all? I know we both picked Wilson.
So it wasn't I don't say it was a shocker, but I didn't think that was a winnable game for Grammy based on the way they had played up until that point.
Right.
So I wasn't a shocker, but
Right.
you know, we didn't think we was going to win the game.
Yeah, congratulations to Coach
Right.
Archie. Get your first win over there,
Yeah.
Graham.
So that was something good, and I think you mentioned some homecoming. I believe that kind of rise right into a topic that we got sent in, because I believe that the Tallwood and Bayside game is Bayside's homecoming, and it's actually on a Saturday.
On the Saturday game.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you know, Jamal, we asked that, you know, people send in topics and we'll look at it and see can we fit it in on the show on one of the sessions. And I believe that one of the topics that was sent in was should we have more Saturday games?
No.
Oh,
I am not a
man.
fan of Saturday games.
Come on.
I'm not a fan at all. And this is me as a journalist speaking, because I cover so much. I
Right.
cover youth, college. I prefer high school to be Thursday, Friday night.
Okay.
So I have the chance to cover the youth and the college on Saturday. I know a lot of high school coaches that I've spoken to, they don't necessarily like the Saturday games as well. It kind of throws them out of their routine.
Yep.
Even with the kids, do the kids want to spend another day, a weekend playing football if it's not college?
Right. So here's my thing. I think, you know, you make some valid points about not playing on Saturday, right? Competing with the college schedule, not just you as a journalist, but now it competes with the fan base.
Right.
Am I going to go to that Norfolk State game? Am I going to go to that ODU game?
Right.
Are the kids who normally getting recruited by those same teams, can they get to those games when the colleges are like, hey, come on over to the game, we playing at home, right? So they might miss a visit, right?
Visits, yeah.
So I understand that.
Okay.
But then you look at somewhere like the Peninsula. They don't have stadiums, right? So they're
right,
always playing on a Saturday. Somebody's really normally always playing on a Saturday, right?
Right.
1 or 2 games on a Saturday,
right?
Because of the stadium situation,
right?
So you already have a dynamic going in the area where there is Saturday games. Again, the Oscar Smith Indian River game that we just had, that was on a Saturday.
Right.
The crowd, right? Would you have gotten that on Friday night? I think because of that game, yes. But imagine that, you know, you get those games of that magnitude where it's on a Saturday, where more people that normally would have to go to a Friday night game because they're looking at their child, their friends or whatever. Oh, we ain't got to play today, but we can get to that game.
Right.
We can see
that was also
play.
able to create more of a college experience for the Oscar Smith Indian River game, where you had some people I know you had people tailgating. You had some pregame show media stuff that was going on. So
I agree with that. So again, when we get back to the college, if you're playing on a Saturday, most colleges are playing on a Saturday. Now you can't get that recruiter maybe out there to watch you because you're playing on a Saturday. Versus a Friday night where they can sneak in and sneak back out and still make it to their game, whether it's airplane, bus ride, car ride, they can still make it back to their game if that's a part of the staff duties that they have. So I think there's a lot of advantages or disadvantages of that from a college aspect. But I truly believe that if the area thought about it, I think like the NFL got flex scheduling. I think that some of those games should
like a prime time game.
Yeah, it should be pushed to a Saturday. I think that the area deserves that. When we talk about maybe, you know, I know it's opinionated top 10 matchups. You got some undefeateds. You know, if they playing on a Friday night, yes, their crowd is going to be there. But let's think about the area. How many more people want to see that top 10 matchup? It's going to be the game of the week or whatever. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. We've moved games to bigger venues because we anticipated a crowd overflowing the normal stadium. Just imagine that. You know, it benefits those programs as a whole. Yes, you're gonna have some disadvantages. Yes, you're gonna have some advantages. But I think the area deserves to have more of those Saturday games, and not just because of they're in the Peninsula and the Peninsula's got the stadium issue, right? You know, Southside doesn't really have that.
So if you take a matchup like more in Ocean Lakes and flex it to Saturday, you think that would be a lot better for the area?
Yeah, I think it would.
So how soon in advance? I'm sorry not to cut you off, but how soon in advance do you think that would be fair for the high school coaches and the teams to find out? Something like that.
I would say the previous Friday.
Okay.
So you know, Friday night's over. You saw what happened, you know, that Friday, and you're looking at it, you're like, that's the game that needs to be flexed to a Saturday. You know, can the cities work together? Because again, you got logistics issues. Am I gonna be running a bus on a Saturday? You know, you got bus drivers. You know, got to get these kids to the game and get the staffs and the cheerleaders and all that stuff. You got logistics to worry about also. So I think, you know, working together that, you know, that Friday before, hey, are we flexing to a Saturday? You got the venue thing to worry about also. And we've seen it happen where somebody's supposed to have a home game, especially in the beach. Oh, we got to play the
playoff
sportsplex.
time, right?
Right, we got to play in the sportsplex, right?
Right. We always see Oscar Smith, Ocean Lakes, that matchup. Oscar Smith, Salem. Like anytime that's matchup like that, we always see
we going to the sportsplex.
Always going to the sportsplex.
Right. But again, now you're looking at it, you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
You know, they had a home field. Why did we move to the sportsplex? Because we expect the crowd to overflow those normal stadiums, right? So why can't we do that for a Saturday?
Right.
You just flex it to a Friday, but you still move the venue. You still change the logistics because none of those teams play there. So they still got to get on a bus. They still got to get all the way over to the stadium. They still got to get prepared in that stadium, stuff like that. So I think a Saturday game, a flex Saturday game, or even a pre-designed Saturday game that we think is a good matchup should be allowable. Okay. I'm not saying it's mandatory, but we need to start thinking about stuff like that. Now, do I think it need to be played in the dead middle of the day? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I grew up, playing rec ball. I grew up coaching. My coaching experience started there.
Right.
Absolutely not, because that's where the fundamentals are.
Right.
Give those parents a chance to get those kids out there, run through their little, run through their schedule, and then if you got an older child or somebody, that needs to play, then you go ahead and play.
So maybe Saturday night games would be better than Saturday at 2 p.m.
Right.
Then you can have, like you said, the rec kids can play their games, but then they can also attend the high school game.
That's correct.
So you can keep that.
Yep, I do believe. I don't want to take any light away from where we're at, because to grow right now means we're allowing those youth teams and stuff to play on those Saturdays. We don't want to play in the middle of the week unless they have to. But they're playing on a Saturday. Let those kids and those parents get those games out of the way, and then like you said, maybe transition to the 7-8 o'clock kickoff game at night under the lights. At the venue, wherever that venue is, and maybe have that game. I think the playoffs should consider that also, and look at the schedule.
Maybe a double header every now and then. Yeah, that would be great.
It's just one of those things where if you looking at a Saturday schedule and you really think about it, I think it benefits the area tremendously. Where we talk about people looking at talent. Especially some of those key games, right? Like, I want to see that guy play. I'm coaching every Friday night. Now I got to watch Friday Night Lights, so I'm looking at tape. Right, I'm looking at tape, if I get tape on the guy, it might be somebody you're never going to play, even in the playoffs, right? So why do you have that film? Maybe you had a common opponent or something. But you're not looking at that guy. You might be looking at what he did, but you're like, man, I really would like to see that guy play before he exits the high school arena, see what's the hype about, really. So it gives you a chance if you had a Saturday night, game or Saturday game to get that out the way.
Gotcha. So as a coach, on the high school level, how would you prepare? Like, how's your week preparing for a Saturday game?
Normally it's just you actually get that extra day that you normally would kind of scale back because it's, you kind of light practice Friday versus light practice on Thursday.
Okay.
The other thing is, if it's in the normal schedule, early in the season, you also benefit the junior varsity program, right? Because normally they play on a Thursday night. So normally the high school staff is kind of light practice on Thursday or whatever. But you're still trying to get mentally prepared for the game. Right. Well, now you got an extra day. Right. So maybe you still cut it back light on Thursday, put a little bit more focus in the JV, come on back on Friday. Now I'm ready for the Saturday. You get an extra day of prep. That means mentally the kids get an extra day of prep for that game. So maybe it makes it a better game because you had an extra day to prepare for your opponent on both sides, opposing team and a home team or whatever, but you get an extra day of preparation. So you should be more focused on that game. Yeah. I know that you got the other side of the coin. I got an extra day. Did I lose my focus because I got an extra day? My routine is thrown off, like you brought up, right? Because we got the extra day. You also have to battle with. I know as a high school coach, kids are working, right? Normally they say, I don't play on Saturdays, so I work on Saturday if I'm gonna work, right? Right. So all of those things have to be taken into account. But I think as a coach, anytime you get some extra time to prepare, I think you also should have a better game plan and a better game. Right.
Have you ever during your time, you're coaching, when you're coaching high school, was there ever a Saturday game where you guys just couldn't get it together?
Just couldn't get it together?
Yeah, like maybe it was just like, man, this ain't I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know about Saturday.
Yeah. I think I can recall last year, I think we had a Saturday game, and thought we was I thought we was pretty prepared, and then you come out there and it's like, what are we doing?
Right.
What, this is not the preparation we had all week.
Right.
You're like, are we going to escape?
Yeah.
Are we going to get this win? Are we going to pull this out? Or are we just going to struggle? So yeah, I have experienced that on a Saturday.
Right.
But I thought we were prepared for the Saturday. It's not like we went into it on Thursday and was like, oh man, I wish we was playing on Friday night because this is not gonna cut it. It's suffering right now. We're just waiting on Saturday just to get it over with. Yep. No, I think that we were prepared, and then when the sunlight came out there and the kids drug in there Saturday morning, trying to get suited up and ready to go. Yeah. You get on the field and you're like, this is not what we planned, So, but you got that on Friday nights too.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's more like people are more used to, like, especially with the kids, they're used to their routine. They go to school, go to class, maybe have a pep rally.
Right.
Then they're going to stay at school after the game, pregame meal.
Yep.
But now you talk about, I remember last year, I think Lake Taylor and Norcom played 11 o'clock kickoff last year because it was Norcom homecoming. That was on a Saturday.
Right.
I think the kickoff was like 11, 12 o'clock, something like that. So what is the kid's routine before that game now?
Right. Because now
what has he eaten that morning?
Right.
Like, how's he getting if it's not a bus? Well, how's he getting to the school? So it's a lot of other factors now we play on a Saturday. So.
Yeah. And I think that's again, you mentioned the logistics, and you mentioned the not only the coaching or the team routine, that individual child's routine, what they're used to doing before a game. Has that been thrown off, and now they're really thrown off for the game because their routine is thrown off.
Right.
I think you have to mentally prepare your team for that, and you go, you always tell the kids, stay hydrated, make sure you eat something, not the greasy foods and stuff like that, but you have to instill that in them throughout that week and remind them it's a Saturday game, fellas. You can't hang out late Friday night, stay up playing the PlayStations and the Xbox.
Go to another team's game and be out all night.
Yeah, you want to get in there, get your rest, make sure you get a meal. Even if it's, hey, just come on to the school, we got a meal for you, to make sure that you ate something and make sure you hydrated and stuff like that, and do your walkthroughs and be ready to play.
As a coach, did you go to a Friday game, or did you kind of use that night to prepare for that?
Oh no, I mean, I think the times that we did play on Saturdays, I always took the time to either scout another opponent, which would be a Friday night game, and then come back and look at some film, make some last minute tweaks if we had to or whatever. But anytime you have a time to look at opponents, especially live and in action, you need to take that time, because of course film doesn't lie, but you might see some during the game that you didn't recognize on film or something, or I was an offensive coach, so it might be something I'm looking at on the defensive side of the ball or special teams, where when it's time for me to break down film, I'm strictly looking at the opponent's defense, but at least when I see it live, I go, hey, take my notes.
It's different live.
Right. But I can take my notes. I'm seeing it right then. Hey, man, you need to prepare for an onside kick. Or they set up like this, on the offensive side of the ball. Or I saw this formation, and they ran this. So therefore, I can immediately send some feedback versus trying to break down all that film when I'm really trying to focus on, the opponent's defense.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Right. So, just close my end. Not a fan of Saturday games. Definitely not the early Saturday games. I do like what you said, proposed about the under the light Saturday game.
Right.
I think that would be a great idea. We had some double headers every now and then under the lights, or
just something out there for the coaches. I think the power and the ball, as we say, is always in the administration and the coaches court. Right. Because they can always even if they just recommend it, and let's table the discussion and see what would happen. Because again, Saturday games are happening, so it's not like it's not happening. It's just how big do you want to make it, and if you want to change that schedule or flex the schedule, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
All right. So I appreciate that topic coming in. I don't know if I know I didn't have it on my original topic list when we discussed podcasts, but I think that was a good topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamal, you are still down in the pick'em this week. And yes, if you want to know, it was the Bethel Hampton game.
Yeah, I went on the loop with that. I went out on the limb with that.
That put you out.
Yeah.
You know, that would have put you up by one, but that was really the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I went on the limb with that one. I would see what Bethel, see what they could do.
Okay. So Jamal again is down one, and his championship reign is on the ropes.
Look, what I didn't pick this week.
Okay, it's on the ropes.
Before we do that, do you want to get into the top 5 or you want to wait? You want to wait?
I want to wait till after we do pick them because it's some games up here. Okay, and some games that played this past week. Okay, and I really want to get your take on your top 5 and why you picked them after I hear them.
I got you. So I'll save the top 5 and because what else I have to say has kind of coincides with that. So I'll save that for after the pick'ems. But like Twan said, I am down. My championship reign might be coming to
yeah, you're on the ropes.
Might be coming to an end, man. But good. That's a good win by Hampton. I tried to go on the limb, pick out Bethel. You know, so
okay, all right. Good. So first game up we got this week is Churchland versus Norview.
Okay, I got Churchland in that one.
I'm going with Coach Don Churchland and Churchland.
And we talked about them playing Booker T last week when they dominated with 34-0. Yeah. So great win, Coach Leonard.
So it would go Peninsula, Gloucester, and Bethel.
I know you're gonna go Gloucester, so I'm gonna go Bethel.
I got Bethel on that one.
Oh, you been in Gloucester?
I got Bethel on that one. I think
you picked Gloucester I think 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I think Bethel rebound.
Okay.
I think they are one of the stronger teams over there. They just they ran into that buzzsaw, and Hampton was coming off of some things. So I think Bethel rebound this week.
Okay.
Good Eastern District matchup here. Your home team, Lake Teller, is going against Norcom. And, of course, Lake Teller didn't fare too well this weekend against Varina. I think that was one of those surprising scores and outcomes that happened. Again, we don't pick the, out-of-area type stuff. But I'm going with Lake Teller on this one.
With Lake Teller. Norcom did defeat Lake Teller last year. Like I said, that was one of those Saturday homecoming games. Norcom always plays Lake Teller tough because even when my brother played there, we won 2 state titles. Norcom played us very well. I'm going to go with Lake Teller, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Norcom win. I'll say that.
Okay.
Especially with Lake Teller coming off a bad loss against Varina. So. Okay. But I'm going with Lake Teller.
All right.
I'm going with Lake Teller.
All right. So we don't have no splits so far. We picked the same team so far. All right. So here we go. One of those, I think on the schedule that I have, I think this is a Saturday game. We got Denby versus Phoebus.
I got Phoebus.
I definitely have Phoebus.
Denby got to wait another day to take this.
Yeah. I definitely got Phoebus. Western Branch versus Deep Creek.
Deep Creek. I got Deep Creek. Deep Creek is coming up. It's probably the last, I ain't gonna say easy game, but the last, decent game for Deep Creek before they get into the meat of their schedule. I think they got Smith and Indian River coming up.
Yeah, so
Mansman River as well.
Yep, I got Deep Creek also. And like you said, they haven't hit that that gauntlet in the Southeastern District yet.
Right.
I think this will get them prepared more for maybe the Nasman River game than the Smith or Indian River game.
Oh, yeah.
So I do have Deep Creek in this one also.
All right.
Next game we have in the Southeastern District, of course, is Kings Fork versus Oscar Smith. Definitely have Smith in this one.
I got Smith as well.
Okay. Again, no split so far. Staying in the Southeastern District, we got Indian River versus Hickory.
I knew you was gonna beat me with that Hickory game because I knew that. I said it last week. When you pick something like that, you know something. And they beat Great Bridge by 1. They did. Yep. So I'm gonna go with Indian River this time.
Yeah,
though.
I have Indian River in this game also.
Okay.
Here we go. This might be the one right here. We got Jamal's favorite Southeastern District team, Great Bridge, and they're playing versus Lakeland.
I picked Great Bridge like 3 times in a row. I'm gonna pick them again, man. I'm gonna pick them again. Please come through for me this week.
Please come through.
Come through for me.
All right. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I got Lakeland on this one. Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I got Lakeland on this one.
Okay. They gotta eventually get a win. I don't. Lakeland has some talent over there. I don't think they're gonna just go winless this year.
Right. All right. Staying in the Southeast District, we got Grassville is at home versus Nasman River. I
think this is gonna be a good game. For some reason, I just see this as being a good game. When we talk about like games of the week, this might be one of the sneaky games of the week. I got Nasman River though.
Yeah, I'm going with Nasman River on this one too. Now we're gonna venture over to the other side of the water and have a couple of games here. I think 3 games in a row here. We got Warwick versus Kickertan.
I got Warwick.
I got Warwick on that one too. We got Hampton versus Heritage, and I'm definitely thinking Hampton's back on track with their win against Bethel. Again, one of the better teams over there in the Peninsula, and I definitely have Hampton on this one.
Me too.
Okay. Woodside, undefeated Woodside is going against Minchville. Who you got, Jamal?
Woodside. They're gonna stay undefeated.
Yeah, definitely Woodside. I don't see Woodside even having a blemish anywhere until they play Phoebus. That defense over there is shutting people out, shutting them down.
I gotta check Woodside out because I haven't heard when they scrimmage Lake Teller.
That's when I heard about them. And again they played against Norview, so I got some eyes on with some people who went to that game. So again, Woodside over Minchville. I have that.
Yeah, I got it.
In the beach. Now the beach schedule is starting to get into the runs here.
Oh yeah.
We have Green Run, who put up a valiant effort against Ocean Lakes this week.
They sure did.
I think it was some oohs and ahs out there when scores were given across announcements and stuff like that because the area does do that during games. So they're playing Kellum at home this week. Who you got?
I'm going to go on the limb. Go pick Kellum. I'm going to pick Kellum.
I got Green Run on this one.
I
got Green Run. I think speed gives Kellum problems. Kellum normally gives defensive problem because people don't see that offense every week. But I think you say it best. Like there's no good loss, but it does help build some confidence when you compete against a team like Ocean Lakes and you got them on the ropes and you just don't pull out the win. So I'm going with Green Run on this.
Yeah, I flip flop on this one. I picked Green Run initially, but I changed it to Kellum.
Okay, all right. Definitely one of the games of the week here. Lansdowne versus Cox.
Okay,
this is a home game for Cox, and in the 4 years that I coached in the beach, if you ever been to a stadium that is loud, it's Cox.
And the basketball gym.
That stadium is rocking from the time they get out there on that field to that last whistle blow.
Yep.
And that is a real home environment.
Absolutely. Cox has a great student section. Even like I said, even in basketball, I believe they gave Lansdowne their first loss last year. I think they only lost last year. So yeah. So I'm gonna roll with Cox, but I want to give a shout out to Luke Mahaskett from Lansdowne. He was one of my top performers from last week. 6 catches, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I'm with you, man. I'm gonna roll with Cox. You got me on the Cox train.
I got you on the Cox train.
You got me on the Cox train.
I'm going with Lansdowne.
You going with Lansdowne?
I'm going with Lansdowne.
So I already know I'm gonna lose this game.
I think. Here's why. Again, this is one of those games that could go either way. I think Lansdowne is rolling. I think the offense is starting to click. I think Cox is one of those teams again, just like Kellum. You can't really prepare for that offense in a week. But I do think they have a problem with speed. Again, it's one of those things. If you can spread the ball out, get the ball into your playmakers' hands, I think they're a little bit faster.
And Haskett is definitely a speedster.
Right. I think
definitely a speedster.
And again, I like Cox, but I think Lansdowne is rolling right now, so I'm going with Lansdowne.
Okay.
Here's the game that we're talking about. Out of district matchup, which is now allowed for the beach as long as you can find a opponent for the other person's schedule.
Okay.
Maury is playing Ocean Lakes at Ocean Lakes.
At Ocean Lakes. Okay.
So
it's a long trip for Maury.
So Jamal, I'm gonna go first on this one. I told you that when Ocean Lakes played PA, I said Ocean Lakes would win if they could deal with the speed. We just talked about Green Run, who's got some speed, right? Gave Ocean Lakes a fit. Right. And we know Maury has got speed.
Right.
I just don't see Ocean Lakes being able to pull out a win against Maury.
Right.
If they're having those type of problems with speed teams. Right. I just gotta go with Maury, just based on what I know now from the schedule.
And I think Ocean Lakes strong defensively, great defensive team. But when you talk about Maury, you're talking about probably the fastest team in the area. Definitely when they're skill position guys. So I'm going to go with Maury as well. I think they'll move to, I believe that'll make them 6-0. I think it's make them 6-0. But I think Maury stay unbeaten. I really don't see Maury getting challenged in his area, unless it's Salem. You talk about playoffs. Talk about somebody like Salem or when they go to region or state. Teams up in Richmond, maybe Varina or Highland Springs. I'm sorry, I forget about Highland Springs. Yeah, Highland Springs, Varina. Right. Right. So I think those are the teams that are challenge Maury, but I don't think it'll come from here. So I got Maury as well.
Okay.
And their quarterback, their quarterback is another one of my top performers from last week. Eric Gibson, 23 for 26, 348 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, definitely had a good game last week. They played Hermitage last week, so definitely a good
Homecoming.
game. Homecoming. Yep. Here's that other Saturday game we mentioned earlier. Tallwood versus Bayside. I believe it's Bayside's homecoming. They played at PA last week.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the reasons why it's a Saturday game.
Okay.
But Tallwood versus Bayside. And who you got on that one?
I got Bayside. I think, like you said, he's coming off a win against PA. Could give him a little bit of confidence going into that Tallwood game. He was also coming out of win too, but I got Bayside.
Yeah, let me tell you, Bayside normally on a Saturday game, been a part of that too.
Yes.
Saturday game, homecoming, they get up for those type of games. Coach White normally has his team prepared. Sounds like they were pretty much prepared for the PA game, even though they blocked the kick. They were still prepared. Right. Wasn't a blowout, wasn't a runaway.
No.
So I think I'm going with Bayside also for this game.
Gotcha.
Salem versus FC. Salem coming off a bye.
Stat game.
Definitely going with Salem.
Stat game. Salem.
Okay.
Stat game.
Okay. All right. And now for the
game of the week.
Game of the week.
Game of the week.
Game of the week here. Kentsville versus Granby. Looks like it's going to be at Powhatan. Coach Archie coming off a win against Wilson.
Okay.
I think we've seen Kentsville, try to be as competitive as they can with the young guys, new coach over there in the beach. Jamal, where you at on this game?
Now, in case you didn't know, I did go to Granby. It's one of my schools, one of my high schools. No, I'm a Norfolk resident. I'm a Norfolk resident. No, I'm a Norfolk guy. I think Kentsville, this is a winnable game for Kentsville. They got a couple this year. Like I said, I looked at Granby, First Colonial. I think those are winnable games for them. But I got Granby.
You got
because I do got to come back to Norfolk.
You got Granby.
Yeah, I'm a Granby. Shout out to my comments, man. I got Granby in this one.
I'm going with Kentsville.
I believe you.
I'm going with Kentsville. I think that the time is now.
You think it is?
Yeah, I think the time is now. I think like you said, nothing against Coach Archie who pulled out that got that first win against Wilson. I think some people use some stuff for motivation. Did that turn you on the right track and get you in that winning feeling. Now we can go out here and compete even though they've been competing, we can go out here and win the rest of these games and show that we can win. I think it's time for Coach Cherry and those guys over there get that feeling also.
And they have a lot of young talent over there at Kentsville. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised to see them win. Like I talked about Granby before the season. It's not much over there this year, but like you said, Coach Archie did pull out a win last week against Wilson. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way.
So I could tell you right now that Jamal could actually put me in a down by 3 based on what we got right here. We got a four game split on this week, so I could be down by 3 coming to the next show.
Gotcha.
And that would be bad.
I don't know, man. I gotta watch you though.
That would be bad business. That would be bad business.
But no, we at the point now in the contest, like you kind of got to take some chances.
Yeah,
like when you're down, you got to take some chances. So I got to take.
I don't
know,
but I don't really see You didn't really take any You didn't really take any chances. Yeah. Not like before. I mean, you took some chances.
To last week's fast.
You took some
chances.
Yeah. Right.
I really thought Beth was going to come through. I thought that was upset alert.
And before we get to the top 5, again, I didn't see any. I don't know if you saw any box scores or anything. I saw a lot of scores, but I didn't see no box scores. No box scores for Man Copeland and Antoine Flora.
No, I didn't. Only caught the amount of touchdowns he had, which was 3. He had 3 against Western Branch.
Okay.
He put out on his Twitter that he had over 300 total yards. I didn't see anything confirm that, but I did see he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I know Deep Creek had 48 points. So I'm pretty sure Flora got in there. Out of that 48. But I didn't see any box scores on that one.
Gotcha.
So let's go and get to you.
Hold on, I think I put the wrong name for this. The wrong school. Yes, I did.
Who you look for?
Cause that's who I was trying to pick. Your guy. Okay.
For what, this week?
Yeah, but I'm gonna go. It's all good.
Hold on, let me see. Who they had?
I think I wrote the wrong name, but it's all good. I'll fix it.
Okay. All right. You want to do top 5 or you want to do?
Yeah, let's do top 5 first.
Top 5. Okay.
All right. So before I get into this week's top 5, let me go back. Last week we had Lake Teller was at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
We had Phoebus at 4, Smith at 3, Salem at 2, Maury at 1. Now, like Twan mentioned earlier, Lake Teller took a bad loss against Varina this past Friday. So of course they'll drop out. I just want to speak on that game a little bit before I get into the top 5. Varina 56-7. I mean, it was domination. I think it was 49-7 at the half. Like 49-7 at the half. And now, like I said, Varina, they have to be a legit state title contender. Like, you have to look at them as legit state title contender. They scored 50 points in 4 games, at least 50 points. They scored 78 against Hanover. So, like, people was like, man, Lake Teller's getting blown out. And I actually talked to Chris, and Chris had put on social media, it's like, man, Lake Teller's getting blown out. I was like, bro, they're playing a good team.
Right.
They're playing a good team. So, I know we're looking at Maury, Highland Springs, but Varina's only lost to Manchester. So, you have to look at them as a state title contender. And Malik Newton, he actually got hurt in that game. So, that's pretty big. He got hurt in the second quarter and didn't go back in the second half. So that's another thing to watch when you talk about Lake Teller versus Norcom. Is Malik going to play?
Right.
Also, Lake Teller gave them more points since the Freedom game, which was another 58. Freedom put up 58 on them too. So, like I said, Lake Teller is going to drop out this week. Another team that I was going to put in, but they lost Princess Anne. So Princess Anne slid back some. All right, so let's get into this week because Twan look like he itching. Like, he really want to hear this week.
Yeah.
So we got a team making it their debut in our top 5. At number 5, we have Woodside. So we got Woodside at number 5. At number 4, still have Phoebus. So we still have Phoebus at number 4. Oscar Smith at number 3. Salem at number 2. Maury at number 1. So we now got 2 Peninsula teams in the top 5. Got a Southeastern District team, Beach District, and Eastern District.
Right.
So pretty well represented. Of course, like I said, Lake Teller dropped out. Churchland was a school that was right on the cusp. Deep Creek is another school right on the cusp. But Deep Creek, I got to see them play somebody. They have to play and beat somebody. So I'm not quite sold on them yet. It was the same position I was in with Churchland a few weeks back when I said, hey, if they can do something against Maury, I'll be sold. If not, I got to wait till you beat somebody good. So
okay.
Any objections this week?
Nah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think your top 5 gonna change until Woodside play Phoebus.
To Phoebus?
Yeah. I mean, something crazy would have to happen. Not saying it's not possible, but I just don't see that top 5 being able to change until the Woodside Phoebus.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I think the top 5 is gonna be bananas.
Yeah.
I think no matter what the outcome of that game is, your top 5 is then gonna be in it's going to be that mode right there for that last spot. That fifth spot is going to be crazy.
Yeah. I wish there was a dominant private school team. I really would love to rank a private school team as well. But like we mentioned, me and Chris mentioned before the show, it's really not there. The level, the talent level is really not there with private school. So you don't have a Norfolk Christian like 2 years ago or Bishop Sullivan a few years ago where they're just good teams. Like when you look at the private school scores, like a lot of blowouts. It's a lot of blowouts. The teams from here are not really winning. So it's like I don't really get a chance to rank them. I did. Tejan, Yorkshire, Portsmouth Christian, 5 catches, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, great performance. Bubba Thomas over there at Portsmouth Christian. So there is talent, but again, from a team standpoint, it's really hard to rank those teams with the public school teams because, like I said, the talent is not there on the private school level. So that's my top 5. Oh man, even though we don't talk about out of area kids, Varina, James Reed. 240 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns against Lake Teller. So, man, shout out to that kid, man. Like I said, Varina, hey, I know a lot of people in this area. We just was Highland Springs 4-time state champ. Maury. We got to start talking about Varina. We really got to start talking about Varina, man.
I really think that, again, I think the issue we have is the way the playoff seasons work out, right? Normally we have a representative from our area and they have a representative from their area. So we don't cross over and get that early playoff matchup. So we beat up on each other down here. They beat up on each other up there. So you got Highland Springs, you got Varina, you got Manchester. They got to beat up on each other up there. You know, now we got Salem, Indian River, Nesman River, Woodside, because Woodside, because that's
D5,
really D5, right?
Yep.
So now we talking about those guys in D5. We got to beat up on each other down here to get the best representative of the area, you know, because you're playing it on the field.
But that's why I kind of like how 6-8 does it, where they cross bracket.
Cross bracket.
Yeah, they cross bracket. I like how they do that. So the teams, you get to play the northern team. So I like that. So maybe that'll change eventually. But
doubt it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So yeah, that's my top 5. Like I said, my player of the week last week was Man Copeland. He had 3 touchdowns. I know your player had good. I wanted to go with Xavier Evans this week.
Yeah, that's Deep Creek versus Western Branch game.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we shall see.
Okay. So
is that somebody you had? Or you had already picked him? Man?
Yeah, I picked him already. Yeah. So that's good. This Deep Creek. Oh no, I'm sorry, Nesman River.
Nesman River.
He came from
that's
Deep Creek.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Nesman River.
That's what I messed up at.
Yeah, Nesman River. So Nesman River versus Grassfield is that game.
Nesman River versus Grassfield.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Let me change some of my notes. That's what I messed up at. I had him at Deep Creek.
Yeah, that's where he was. He transferred it to Nesman River this year. Right. So I'm going with a Peninsula guy.
Okay.
I'm going with Anthony Turner from Phoebus.
I heard some good stuff about him.
They're playing Denby this week, so I'm going with Anthony Turner.
And he had a good game this past week, right? I heard some good stuff about him. Okay.
Yeah, it was a toss up for me. You know, I was looking at all the running backs basically, and seeing the matchups. But I think Anthony Turner is going to be my pick for the fantasy player.
Gotcha. Have you started looking at? I know we talked last week. You said it was too early for area player of the year and stuff. Have you started to look more towards who's going to be the area player of the year now and stuff like that? Yeah. And we're gonna talk about that off air until we get to that week. But I just want to share some stuff with you. We don't see a lot of box scores, right? We talked about that. Hey, coaches, get your box scores in. I don't know what's going on, right?
But evidently, the coaches are turning in stats.
Okay,
right. So I think weekly, we see some stats come out. It's a surprising name and some surprising areas that I'm hoping to see at the end of the year whether that player gets the recognition they really deserve for being that type of ball player.
Right.
So like I said, it's a little early, but once you said it last week, I was like, let me see if somebody really would stand out right now. We had to cut it off right now.
Right.
Would somebody really stand out and go, you can make your argument and say that's the player of the year. We stop the season right now, no playoffs, no nothing. That's the player of the year.
Right. Someone that we're probably not considering that may get some consideration as the year goes along, Eric Gibson from Moore, because he's spreading the ball out so much. Nobody from Moore is going to have, none of their skill position players are really going to have 1,000-yard season, but the quarterback is going to have a great year. He's going to have a great year. So it's like Avonte last year. He ended up throwing for 40-something touchdowns.
Right.
So nobody want to say he was the player of the year, but eventually, his stats are going to be so crazy. The quarterback from Oscar Smith, his stats are going to be crazy.
Vasco,
So I think it's going to be close this year. I don't really think it's going to be anybody running away.
Yeah, and I think that's what, when you said it last week, I think that's what triggered me to go in here and just look and see, if we're not getting the box scores, of course, we get the regular scores, and most of the teams, try to get in, stats, or whoever covering the media covering it, try to keep us abreast of who's doing well or whatever. I just think sometimes we forget some of the other guys, whether they're not playing the big games. But again, that's consistency. That's what I look at, across the board. And I think that's why I say come week 7, week 8, and you done ran that, your slate of the schedule. You can't help who you playing against at that time. But if you didn't play the full 8, 9 games, you probably didn't play against enough of the tougher competition to see, did you shine? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Whether you got the win or the loss, did you do what you were supposed to do?
Right.
And I think sometimes we hold that against players also, that they took a loss. And normally it affects the quarterback more than anybody else. If the quarterback had a bad game, you're like, they can't be player of the year. They took a tough loss, right?
Right.
But I think this just going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that, everybody, continue to progress and be consistent,
Gotcha.
no matter who the competition is,
Gotcha.
because that's what tell you, you the player, you are who we thought you were, if you want to go
nearly
every
every
game. Right.
Right.
Can you have a bad game? Of course. Of course you can. But is it miserable?
Right.
Now you start the question like, did I have a person that was a candidate that had a more consistency than your miserable game? They had a bad game,
right?
But it wasn't miserable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got like opponents and stuff like that. And you play the same position, of course.
You know what was miserable yesterday? The crowd at ODU. Man, listen. I don't think I've ever seen a crowd at Old Dominion since they started football program like that dead as they were yesterday. That was their fourth loss in a row. They lost to Western Kentucky. Fourth loss in a row. Their first Conference USA loss of the season. Their third home loss, second in 2 weeks. When you look at ODU, the biggest thing I see with them is their offense. Like, they don't really have any offensive firepower, and they also don't have any kids from this area. So that's two things that I see as a problem with them at this moment. You don't see any kids from this area, and you don't not enough. You don't really see too many kids from this area, and you don't see any offensive firepower. I mean, you talk about when you run 50 plus plays and you average 2 yards per play. That's 59 total yards in the first half. You're not doing much on the offensive end. So the Boo Birds came out yesterday. Right. You started hearing some fire Wilder chants.
Hot seat.
I think, and I think at this point, I think he may be because people talk about Latrell Scott and Norfolk State on the hot seat, but I don't think he's the only coach in this area on the hot seat right now. Because Bobby Wilder, and you look at their schedule, they got Marshall. They go to Marshall next. They go to UAB, and then they come back here for I think Florida Atlantic. They play their next home game here, FAU. So that could be. You could be looking at 6 losses in a row.
Yeah. So if we talking about hot seats and we talking about the Liberty thing and recruiting and stuff, again, I think it's all about relationships. What kind of relationships do you have with these kids? I know they got some commits. I know they at least got one from Salem earlier in the year. But what kind of relationships are you building with those coaches out there, right? Who also influence kids, by the way. Right. What kind of relationships do you have with the kids in the area who influence each other about where to go to school at, and what have you done in the past? Right. Your past follows you. Right. So everybody needs to be aware that these things happen when you start building relationships. Have you destroyed a bridge with some folks because of your actions in the past.
And that's kind of debate I got into yesterday, and it was like, the kids don't want to come here. I was like, well, do they reach out to the kids in the area? I mean, what kind of relationship, like you said, are they establishing with the kids and the coaches? And because you look into I looked into the stands last night. I didn't see too many kids. I didn't notice too many of the recruits in the section. I didn't notice those guys.
Just, again, here we go. Yeah. You say what's going on with Liberty. And like I said, the only thing I think about is the relationships. The only thing I can think about is once you start getting kids from the area there who enjoy the environment or enjoy the staff or whatever they got going on at Liberty. Right. Who knows? They start talking. It's word of mouth. Right. It ain't just a good, big stadium and a good locker room, right? Oh, yeah. That word of mouth is more is powerful when you talk about kids because peer pressure is something, and when you start talking good things, hey man, come play with us. Oh yeah. Hey man, this is what we do. This is how the coaches treat us. And I heard it when my son was playing at Norfolk State, he had friends that play at Virginia Tech, right? Of course, Power 5 school. But we're talking about stuff like snacks. Right. That kids are hungry. They trying to, hey man, you come in the meeting room, man, we got snacks. Right. Man, I gotta go to the snack machine. You talking about you walking in the meeting room.
Closed at 10, 11.
Right, yeah, you talking about you walk in the meeting room and you got these snacks. It's like those things sink in. You're like, I ain't got to pay. And man, I ain't got to worry about where I'm getting my next meal from. Right. And that's how you treating it. And it's all legal. Right. And maybe I need to go there. Maybe I need to consider, what's going on there. Right. Yeah. So yeah. Hey
man, but like I said, ODU, they got to turn it around. Like I said, 2 in a row next 2 weeks, so we'll see what they can do. But Lawrence Gardner, he had a great performance for them, 12 tackles yesterday, 22 the last 2 games. So defensively, they've been playing pretty well, just offensively. My thing is you got a quarterback, if you're not going to allow him to throw, your offense is not going to move the ball. And 2.8 yards a play, that's telling me You're not getting any big plays, but you're giving up a lot of big plays, but you're not getting any yourself. So that was my Saturday yesterday. And like I said, that's why I enjoy high school on Fridays and college on Saturdays, because I can do a little bit of both. So that was my Saturday. Your Dolphins in action today?
Man, oh man. Man, that's like pouring salt in the wound right now. What do you mean in action? We ain't been in action since preseason.
Hey, Redskins. Y'all got the Redskins next week, right?
Hey, look, man, it don't matter who we got, man. It don't matter right now.
Right.
Now, I have seen nothing.
Right.
I need some fight. I can take a loss. I can't keep taking the 24 to nothings, the 34 to 3. I can't take that.
Right.
So let's smell the end zone. Let's get there, right?
Yeah.
This is professional football.
Some confidence building.
Right? You're getting paid millions of dollars to play the sport that you say you love, right? Getting paid $1 million to coach the sport you say you love, and that's your profession, right? I need you to do something. Right. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm gonna just carry it that way. But no, I'm not interested in watching y'all play this awful brand of football.
Right.
It just hurts my heart.
Yeah, I got you.
Right. So I'm gonna watch me some football. I don't know if it's gonna be the Dolphins or not.
Got you.
So, all right. Tuning out. We'll see y'all next time. 757 field goals.
All right, we out.